Hey everybody, Jim from Jim's Coleus, just keeping in touch, keeping up to date with everybody here in New Jersey. We've just had so much rain. I'm beginning to get a British accent. So all due respect to my friends over in England, I sympathize with you with the amount of rain. It must be so tough. Anyway, here in New Jersey, it's nice and sunny, so still breezy, still much too cool to put any plants out. Except for like not begonias, there's certain impatiens, certain ones that you can see at the nurseries or Home Depot that are outside already. They're already hardened for this kind of weather. You could plant them, but as far as Coleus go, far too soon to plant them outside. And we're going to get into hardening shortly, or you can check my list of videos. I have videos on what hardening is if you're not familiar with it. Very important. One of the most important things to do if you're growing your own Coleus, before you put them outside, I urge you to read up or watch my videos on hardening. It'll save you so much grief, and you'll be very, very thankful to be patient, like I've learned over the years, to wait. Good things will come. We all want to get this beautiful weather here and complain when it's 100 degrees and 900% humidity. We're never happy, are we? Hope everybody had a great Easter, by the way. So anyway, I just in the greenhouse, organizing, cleaning up. I moved some pots outside. I'm going to show you a few pots I picked up from a local artisan here in Point Pleasant Beach, New Jersey. Really cool pots. I bought one from like 20 years ago, and I left it out in the winter and it cracked. So I took care of it this year. I brought it inside the greenhouse, emptied it. Anyway, got some small pots. Looking at my rootings, I have an idea of a rooting that I'm going to put in pots. Now, I'm not going to start to pot my Coleus in the nursery pots yet. I'm still waiting to get my electric fixed so I can run the heater in my greenhouse, but it's still too early. Even if my electric worked right now, I wouldn't be moving my Coleus in until the end of April or first week of May, because it's not worth risking damaging or killing these beautiful Coleus that I work so hard to grow. So anyway, let's go take a look at some of these pots and the beautiful Coleus that I'm thinking of putting in pots. And I really want to get the rootings that my friend Sherry up in Canada sent me, because they're so beautiful, and I want to get them into pots. So I may do those. They're smaller pots. I just want to get those rootings into pots and get going. But I only have so much room in my racks in my dining room. So good things will come. Just have to be patient. So let's go take a look. Okay, hey, before we get started, I just wanted to showcase these beautiful, beautiful Coleus. This is a Wizard Rose Kong Coleus. The Wizard Rose, again, have the lighter green with the pink or fuchsia in the center. They may have they usually have white, and they will have a touch of black. And it's just a great combination amongst my favorites. And look at these beautiful, I want to say they're in the Kong Red family because of the green, the black, and the red. And now there will be different variations of the Kong Reds. Sometimes they may be a little bigger, but these are Kong Reds, and there's a jitters on the side there. That's going to go into hanging baskets. If you're new to my channel, or if you've been following along, you know I always put jitters in hanging baskets because they love to drape over. Perfect Coleus for hanging baskets. But look at the beautiful colors. These are in unbelievable shape, condition. I cannot wait to get these into pots. So, and that's where it can be really tough here, because I learned from my mistakes to be as patient as possible to get out to the greenhouse, but I don't want to go too soon because these are much too tender. Even with the heater in the greenhouse, they're still too tender to withstand the stress of being out even in the greenhouse, because we still may get some nights in the upper 30s, low 40s, and even again, based on my experience, it's too stressful. So I usually wait until the end of April to get them out. So anyway, here we are. Getting back to the rooting that Sherry sent me from Canada. This is one of her electric lime sports. And it may not look like anything right now, but she sent me some photos of a mature one that she took this cutting from. And what a beautiful, beautiful, colorful Coleus. This doesn't do any justice. So we're going to get this potted today. And this is sort of a wizard rose variation. It's more towards the line of a Kong red because it's got a combination, if you can see. You got some Kong red, which has the black and red and the white, and the green, the darker green, as opposed to that. See, these are both Kongs, but they're different variations of Kongs, which is, sometimes it's frustrating because you want to know what kind of Coleus it is, but there's so many different varieties, and cross-pollination, which is so much, that to me is the most interesting thing about Coleus. Getting the cross-pollination and getting these varieties. And that's what drives me every year. It's just amazing. And this I got from a wizard rose and a Kong red and a little bit, I want to say a little bit of a jitters, because it's got a slender, more of a slender folding leaf, as opposed to a broad rounded leaf. So, but anyway, I chose this one. It's got a real complex root ball. So I chose that one to put in one of these pots that I purchased from that artisan. And this is a smaller one. So you can see, dug the hole. I already have some Miracle Grow shake and feed fertilizer mixed into this potting mixture. So we're going to put this in the pot, gently water it, put it inside, and watch it. Hopefully it'll take, it should, but I do have a number of these rootings. By the way, the Navasink, so this is a really beautiful, beachy, shore-themed pot. And again, there's an artisan near me that makes these. He's made them for years. And the Navasink is a river system about 30 minutes north of here. And it feeds it comes in from the Atlantic. The Navasink and Shrewsbury rivers, it's a beautiful, beautiful river near Rumson. Bruce Springsteen lives up there. There's a lot of beautiful, expensive homes on the river. It's very, very picturesque. For those of you who've watched The Sopranos, I don't know if you remember the episode so long ago when Tony bought himself a beach house. It was actually a beach house on the Navasink River. So it's kind of cool. I always loved Navasink, so he didn't have too many of these pots, so I grabbed one of these. And we're going to pot a Coleus in that. And this I'm keeping. This is going to be for me. I'm not selling this at my farmer's market. So, and there's a few of those hanging buckets that I will be planting. Not today, just going through some of the pots that I have. Make sure all of your pots have drain holes. Very important. You need drain holes. You need somewhere for the water to go. Otherwise, the water's going to sit in the soil. The roots are going to sit in the soil. They're going to get bloated, and then they're going to swell up, and the rest of the plant will die because it's not going to be getting any nutrients or water. So whatever pot you plant your Coleus in, or whatever ground system you plant your Coleus in, make sure there's somewhere for water to drain. Very important. Okay, and here's one of my larger planters. I have all my planters ready to go here. And here's another one. Now, Seaside, that's a sort of a double meaning. I live seaside, live next to the sea, so Oceanside, Seaside. But Seaside is also a town near here. Is Seaside Heights. Those of you in New Jersey, New York area may know, Seaside Heights is like a tourist destination. Has a huge boardwalk, rides, has a beautiful Ferris wheel. Got hit really hard with Sandy, but it's been about 90% redone. It's really, really nice. Very crowded. They have go-kart track, food like you wouldn't believe, pizza shops everywhere. They have a sky ride. It's quite busy. It's one of the busier tourist destinations in, closer to New York City. So, but here we go. So I just bought Seaside because I'm on the seaside. So but this is a beautiful pot. Again, this will be from my home. Haven't decided what I'm going to put in this yet, but we've got plenty of time for that. Okay, everybody. So, as you can see here, see if we can zoom in a little bit here. Whoa, that's what I call zooming in. Okay, so you see I dug a deep hole down here. You can see it's pretty deep. Not quite to the bottom, but I want to make sure that these roots, let me zoom out so you can see what I'm doing here also. We want to make sure that this look how healthy that looks. See, it's just a very, very healthy rooting. Beautiful Coleus. Let's zoom out a little. Okay, so you can see it's very, very healthy. I have a very good feeling that this will make it. Transplanting rootings from wet water to a pot it can stress the plant out. So when you do, initially it may look like hell. Excuse the French. Your Coleus may not look well. It may droop. Give it time. Water, not too much, but make sure that it's watered, and flood it with as much light as you can to help reduce to minimize the shock, the stress of being transplanted, because it's a whole new game. This rooting has never been in soil before. It's used to drinking water direct. And yes, I'm going to trim these leaves, but right now we want to get this into this pot so we get the rooting down. I don't worry about too much of it being straight. I will straighten it out, but nature has its way of straightening itself out. I love those beautiful birds in the background. Almost sound like Bob Ross. So he was a good man. So there we go. Let's go take a look. All right. And then I'm going to use the water from the jar. And that's good. And I'm going to pour it all in. And it should run out the bottom. If not, this does have a drain hole. If not, there is an awful lot of soil there. They want moist soil, but not drenched. But they don't want dry soil either. So, again, I always say moderation with Coleus. They like light, a lot of light, but you don't want to blast them with direct sunlight, especially young Coleus. Indirect light, the brightest location, brightest window, supplemented with grow lights if you have them initially. And, I really recommend to watch my video on hardening Coleus before you put these out. So this will go inside the house. And once the weather does break and it's nice and warm and so forth, and I harden this, more than likely this is where it's going to be. This will be its home on my patio table. And eventually it's going to look like its mother plant. All right, now here is the mother plant. I took about 4 rootings off of this. You can see actually this here, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It's not broken. It's the way the plant grew. So I'm going to cut this and root this one too, probably. I don't want to do too much because cutting too much off here will shock the plant. But this was the mother plant. This was left over from last year. It wasn't this big. It just I sold 90% of my Coleus to, I get to a point where I sell most of my Coleus and I don't have enough really to bring to the farmer's market. So I always have a handful of plants left, and I keep them for the next season or what have you, give them to somebody. But this was left over and it just took off over the fall and winter. So, but you can see this is the mother plant. I took about 4 or 5 rootings from it. Beautiful color. Love these. Okay, so as you can see, we got color explosion. Color explosion. These Coleus look fantastic. I'm so happy, especially after last year. Beautiful. Look at these fairway mosaics. What a bunch of color. Those are the wishbone Terranias. They're doing good. I lost 3, which isn't bad. I think I planted 25. I lost 3, which is understandable. These could be a little temperamental. I may still lose a few more. But they're looking good. Everything looks really, really good here. Color explosion. And again, here was that beautiful wizard rose that we just planted. Got it under the grow light by the window. We want to flood this with light. I'm going to have these green lights. They're on a timer. I have them go off at 9 or 10 o'clock. Very important. Again, I'm reiterating, if this is your first time here, if you're using grow lights, you do not keep them on 24/7. You need to, aside from the beginning when you're first sowing your seeds, once your plants are growing, you need to give them a rest. Just like we need rest, plants need rest too, and that's where they do the majority of their growing overnight, I believe. They certainly seem like it to me, but no, that's very important. Grow lights off 10, right before you go to bed. Grow lights off. Grow lights back on when you get up in the morning. And as the days grow longer, the sun will be out longer, more intense, and so forth. And by then, we'll be outside in the greenhouse. So. Okay, everybody, so short and sweet today, for change, huh? I try not to make them too long, the videos. I try to get to the point, but I am here to teach you. And obviously now that the weather's starting to improve, we can get outside. It'll be more visual, show and tell, for lack of a better term, more Coleus and less chatter from me. For those of you who say I talk too much, which is not untrue, but regardless, we're going to be getting up to our elbows in colorful Coleus soon. So stay tuned. Again, look through my list of videos, particularly hardening. Can't tell you enough. I can't stress enough how important it is to harden your Coleus, any plant that you start inside for seed and going to bring outside. So check out that video and stay tuned. There's lots more to come here, lots more beautiful Coleus just like we saw. So take care, everybody. Have a great weekend coming up, and we'll be checking back soon. Take care. Thanks for watching Jim's Holiest Coleus.